Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Today is Monday. It is the beginning of the work week for those who work, and it's also the beginning of the work week for those who are retired and decide to continue the work doing whatever they do that they find their passion, whether it be working in the yard, building a house, any home improvement project, or whatever hobby it is that you have. Well, I have not been idle over the last few days, even though I have not pushed a video. I started a video Saturday. Today's Monday, day before yesterday. I started a video and then something came up. Ness had some schoolmates over and they had a planning committee for the school that they went to. They do all these things that help the community. So she was busy with that, and that took most of the afternoon. I participated in part of it, but then some of it I went back outside and started working. So I think what I'm going to do for today, the video that I started on Saturday, I'll include that at the beginning of today's video, and then I'll get more into what I'm doing today, what I did yesterday, and what I actually started a little bit on Saturday as well. I know you'll be excited about that project as well. You kind of saw it in a little bit of the opening screen when I did the video of the yard. Well, if you are excited as I am, then you're going to have fun this afternoon on today's video. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, as you may have ascertained, today's episode is probably going to be about irrigation. All those pipes that you saw, all those pop-up sprinklers and things like that. I decided it was better yesterday for me to focus on trying to get all this pipe down and give you an idea of what the layout's going to be, as opposed to showing you every single step here. But we will show you. This is only part of the backyard. I will show you what I am doing as far as laying, connecting, designing, and testing a pop-up irrigation system, so the yard can be a little less maintenance intensive, basically trying to go more towards a maintenance-free type of backyard, where my gardener doesn't have to spend a couple hours a day doing the watering. He can focus on other things like pruning and taking care of the garden and weeding and things like that, so we can be more efficient in how we manage our garden here at Villa Feliz. Now, before we get started, I told you we were going to go back. We're going to go back in time. We're doing that Villa Feliz time machine again. We're going to go back to Saturday. I'm going to show you a couple of projects that I did upstairs. Maybe it's only one project. No, I think it was two projects. It is two projects that I worked on Saturday up in the comfort room, the bath up on the second floor. So let's take a look at that, and then we will come back to working on the irrigation. Oh, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. I got some jobs to do upstairs today. I'm going to be working on mounting that magazine rack slash tissue paper holder in the comfort room up on the second floor. Our ballot buying box came in last week. I forgot to share with you the opening of the ballot buying box. But it was still some home improvement items, mostly home improvement items. Some stuff for the workshop downstairs, some stuff for the house, another security system that I wanted to install as another layer here in Villa Feliz to give additional security protection, and a few other things as well. Well, anyway, let me go ahead and get started on this project of mounting that rack inside the comfort room up in the second floor. And then we'll talk about some of the other things that came in through Lazada, maybe some of the things that came in the ballot buying box, and what's planned for the rest of the day. So anyway, let's go ahead and get today started. I need to get today started. I need to get some things done because Ness has some classmates coming over, and they are having a planning committee here. So there's going to be a bunch of people here today, and I'll try to work in the background and not bother them as much as possible. Again, let's get today started. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Okay, now, first task at hand for today. And what we're going to do is we are going to mount this handy-dandy, versatile, multi-function magazine rack and tissue paper holder. And what this thing does is holds a couple of pieces, a couple of rolls of the toilet paper here for the lavatory. And then you can put some magazines inside here for those moments where you have some privacy and you want to relax and you want to read your favorite magazine, I guess. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and mount that. It's going to go somewhere on this wall right here. I just have to find the optimum place. We're going to use a couple of small anchors. I found a couple of anchors down inside the basement and a couple of screws similar to these black screws that'll match with the black of the metal here. It came with a couple of screws, but they're exactly like these. These are, I didn't know if it did. But it did. It came with the screws, but it did not come with the anchors for some reasons. Now the first thing to do is I need to find an optimum location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and find a comfortable location on the throne over here and then mark it, and then we'll do the drilling and mount this and go on to the next project. Okay, I like it. I think it's going to work really good. Step 2 for today. Step 2 for the DIY project today here at Feliz. Install this 5-way angle valve right here. And 5-way angle valve, basically there's like 5 different things on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's why they call it the 5-way. But we're only going to be using 3 connections on there for output. And I guess it is 1. Anyway, 3 pieces. As a couple of them are on-off kind of valve kinds of thing, so you can shut off different parts like the manual bidet if you want to turn that off altogether. Say that you have a leak or something like that on it and you don't have to disassemble the entire system. It's a nice convenient feature to have. Now, the problem we're going to have here today, I can see already, is the connection going into the wall. Now, I had difficulty. I had 2 different angle valves before on the back, and you'll look at the one I have now. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but it's recessed. It's really deep into the wall, and that has to do with my contractor, who is also my plumber, who's really not a plumber, but he does plumbing. He didn't calculate for how the finish, the final finish, which is the plaster coat, well, not the plaster coat, is the tile adhesive as well as the tile. So the end of the connector, the PPR connector, is supposed to be flush with the wall, but it's not. Hence the problem. Now, all angle valves are not created equal. And what I mean in that sense is this section here where it goes into the wall, right here by my thumb, that section right there, some are a few millimeters, maybe 5 millimeters, maybe even longer, longer than other ones. And for this, we need the longest one possible. I don't know if this is as long as the one that's in there right now. Which means that if it's not, we're going to have to go with a nipple to extend it out further, which is not good. We don't want to do that because it'll be unsightly. Well, anyway, let's see if we can get this to work. We're going to remove that one. We're going to try to install this one and give an additional manual bidet. Now, I already went downstairs. I went to my manifold. I shut off this floor water for this bathroom. Hopefully, we'll check it out here in just a second. And that's the great thing about having that manifold. When you build your house, make sure you put a water manifold in that goes to separate parts of your house, especially if your house is big. If you only have 1 or 2 rooms, it's not a big deal. But even if you have 2 rooms, you have a leak in one, you can turn off only that one room while the other room is being serviced by water. Your kitchen, say for instance, while you're fixing your bathroom and you're not out of water. So think about that when you're planning your plumbing inside your house. Well, let's go ahead and get started for today. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this installed without any major complications. I don't know. All right, well, I was able to get the angle valve installed and connect up the little spray nozzle for the bidet. Now, I will tell you right now, it was not a walk in the park, a piece of cake, smooth sailing, so to say, all those things, because we didn't have a certified, licensed, qualified plumber to do the plumbing here. He did not take into calculation how close the connection inside the wall was to the back of the lavatory itself. So I will show you real quick the problem that I had. Now, the problem that I had here was this angle valve. I was so happy when I found out that this was longer, and I was able to, didn't require the nipple, the extension that I was talking about. But that presented another problem. When I tried to screw it into the wall here, this section with all this taken off, actually it was this section on the bottom down here, when I tried to spin it on, the toilet was in the way. And see, the toilet is already mounted and it has the grouting in the bottom. So the only thing that I could have done, there was 2 options I saw. Main thing, a lot of people would have said, just chip off all this, remove the toilet or slide it back out, and then install this. But the thing is, if I did it like that, if I ever had to remove this again for maintenance, that would mean every single time I would have to do that. It would mean removing the lavatory here. Well, I didn't want to do that. So what I did on the back of the male connector of this angle valve here, I went down to the vise and I took a hacksaw and I cut off a little bit of the threads. And then I put it back here, I positioned it, and I was able to get the first thread in without doing any damage to this, and I could get behind her, spin it on with the Teflon tape, checked it out, and we got a good seal. So that's the case. Now, the next thing I have to do is to mount this to the wall up here. So I'm going to drill a couple of holes up here with the mounting bracket, get this installed, and then we'll be done with this project. Okay, everything is done that I'm going to do up on the second floor right now. I just got done cleaning the basement because we have those guests coming over and who knows. And I really didn't clean it. Actually, I vacuumed and mopped the floor. But I have so much So much going on down there, so many projects right now, especially with irrigation. I have tools and pipes and everything all over the place. We're not expected to use that area. Remember, it is a work area, and that's what it's being used for work. So I got this done up here. Right now, I'm going to go do some yard work real quick, and then I don't know what time will be the completion of Nessa's planning committee. So I'm not sure, this might be the last task for today, but that means there's just other things that we'll continue on with tomorrow. Well, let me go do some yard work, and we'll see if we're going to be doing anything else for the rest of the day. Now, every job, everything that you do starts with those three basic things that I was talking about being successful with doing anything: goal, plan, and follow through. Well, the goal for this project right here is to install an irrigation system so that we have less maintenance on the yard. It's an easy way to water the yard remotely. So that was the goal, that is the goal, and the plan. Let's take a look at the plan. Okay, I'm back on the back porch right now, and I laid out some of the components that we're going to use to build this home irrigation system here at Villa Feliz. Now remember, what I show you today isn't the perfect solution for everybody. It's maybe not even the perfect solution for here, because we have to test things and make sure everything works properly, which is what I started doing yesterday. So for your solution, just remember, whatever you purchase, whatever your design is, it's going to be based on your landscaping. It's going to be based on the shape of your yard, the areas that you need to have watered. All these different things are dependent upon your unique situation. So this is just going to be an example of what I did here today. So let's take a look at some of the components and the plan, the drawing that I plan on using here for the build here at Villa Feliz. Now, before you start your project, you need to have an idea of what you need. What is the requirements for your specific yard. So this is the backyard. This is the back. I drew this out so I knew how many pop-up heads I need, and it's all based upon the type of pop-up head that you buy is based upon how far you need the water to go, what your radius is, and so this is how I determined what I needed when I bought the equipment and sent it over in a ballot buying box from the US. So each one of these are pop-up sprinklers, and they're not numbered yet except for number 1, zone. So they're going to be numbered by zones. So I made a calculation, and I determined that my pump would support the 4 of these kind of pop-up sprinkler heads that I'm going to show you here in just a moment. So what I did was I decided where zone 1 is going to be. Remember, over here, this is our cistern over here, and it's going to pump out to these guys along the fence. And what I did was I drew a radius to show the coverage based upon what the specifications of the pop-up sprinkler said it would throw. Of course, every sprinkler can go further or less based on some adjustments of the head. So I took a medium value, and this is what I came up. And it was pretty easy for me because it came between 2 of the fence posts. So basically what I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure I got to this point right here. So zone 1 is going to handle this area, this area, this area, and this area. So a pretty big chunk of the yard. Then zone 2 is coming over to this area, this area, this area, and this area. That's the 4 heads over here. And then there was supposed to be another one right here, but I ran out of heads. I didn't calculate properly. I am 1 pop-up sprinkler head shy of what I needed for the backyard. I needed to make sure that I have 4 for the front, and I would have only had 3 for the front if I would have used 1 here. So I'm hoping that this throw right here will cover most of this area right here. We'll see. I tested it yesterday, and it seems pretty good. And then this is going to be part of zone 3, and zone 3 is going to go all the way, and the planter's here, and it's going to go on the side of the retaining wall. So that's three zones right there, 3 zones out of 8. I still have 5 zones I can work with now. And then I put the sprinkle in the center, which covers over it. Now, when you design your system, make sure that everything overlaps so you don't have any dry areas. You don't have an area that does not get water, because that area will die if you don't water it. And you don't want to hand water one little specific area, say this big right here, when the whole yard is being watered properly. That kind of defeats the purpose. Okay, let's take a look at some of the equipment that we have here that we're using for the irrigation in the backyard. Now, what you see here are my main components, other than the PPR pipe and all the connectors and the pump back over at the cistern. This is the main components for making this system work. Make all the sprinkler heads, anything for the flow of water over the yard. And we'll go into each one of these individually right now. Now, the first component I want to talk about today is the main workhorse of this entire system, and this is what I have the most of. And this is the 100 PGP. It's a 4-inch pop-up sprinkler, which means basically when it's activated, this head that pushes the water out pops up 4 inches above the level of the ground, and it sprays water into your yard. It's very adjustable, meaning very versatile, very adjustable, meaning that you can adjust this from 40 degrees, I believe it's 40 degrees to 360 degrees. Let's see, it probably says it somewhere on here. Or easily adjust between 40 and 360 degrees. And the radius basically where it's going to throw the water will go from 22 to 52 feet. And I think we have most of the arches, the radius, I think most of them around 30 something feet, maybe, I don't know, something around 30 as the way I adjust it. Anyway, this is the main workhorse. And we have some smaller ones for some special features. And it's these Rainbird. These Rainbird pop-up, the 600 series, very inexpensive. And the heads are replaceable for different type of spray patterns. This one that is installed is a 360 degree. This one is 180 degree, basically meaning the 180 will do a semicircle. This will do a full circle, but you don't have to leave these heads inside here. You can buy these end spray spray nozzles, and you can replace them, and you can get some really neat patterns. Like this is called an end strip right here. Like I said at the beginning, the end strip, and what it will do a rectangular type of pattern. It will just shoot for special areas, like back on the side of the house where the aircon units are, that small strip inside there. Also, I have multiple different kinds. This one is a side strip, and this side strip, when you put it inside the ground, basically if you want just this tabletop done, you can put it over here, and it will do a rectangular portion of this section right here without spraying on things that you don't want being sprayed on, such as where the retaining wall where the vehicle is. We want to spray away from the wall, get that whole strip where the plants are up to the wall, to the fence itself, but not spray the car. So we can use it for that as well. And there's all kinds of different designs that you can do. This right here, this is a fixed type. You can use any of these type of spray nozzles, and you attach it to this little adapter right here that goes PPR to the stainless steel screw in, just like this one has right here. Screw it in, and you would put this in somewhere like a garden area where you need it raised so it doesn't spray only at the base, but you want to cover up above the plants so everything gets covered, which is the same concept for this pop-up sprinkler right here. This one right here it's telescopic. You can adjust this thing and it will move up. A lot more than that. It'll come out to about here. I just don't want to undo this whole thing right now. So anyway, we talked about the different type nozzles, the extensions, the different sprayers. Oh, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about how am I going to control all this? Well, this is the Rachio. This is the Rachio controller. This is Gen 2, Generation 2. They're up to the Generation 3 now. I have a Generation, I think a Gen 2 or 1 back in the US. And it's still working great. I can remotely water the yard from anywhere in the world as long as you have Wi-Fi. You can do all the pop-up sprinklers, make them activated, deactivate them, set the timers, change the amount of time, and you can do everything with your smart device, like your smartphone, your tablet, or your computer. And last but not least this isn't really part of the external irrigation system, but this is part of the measurement of the water inside the cistern. I've had several people make comments or send me emails making recommendations about how can I check the water? What is the water level inside the cistern? Well, this is sort of like a sonar kind of a device, an ultrasonic type of a device, where you mount this to the top of your cistern or your well. We can do it even inside the little door, the door that opens and closes. It's battery operated, and it sends a signal from here to a monitoring device, which has a graphic display. I think it's a LCD display. And what you can do from inside your house, you can see what the level of your water is inside your cistern. This device, let's see if it's called the Water Tank Level Monitor Receiver, model TS Tango Sierra dash FT002, Fox Tango 002. I got this on Amazon.com. It's inexpensive Chinese device. We'll see if it works. I haven't hooked it up yet. So basically, it sends a signal from here, ultrasound down to the water level. It hits the water, it goes back up here, says, oh, this is how much water I got, and then transmit over this little antenna to your receiving device right here. So we'll see. When we do that, I'll do the install. I'll show you the install, and I'll show you the results. We'll do sort of a product review on this device here as well. Now, these are the main components. I'm out of PPR. Everything you see in the yard that I showed you earlier, I laid all the PPR down. I need to go get some more adapters because I only wanted to get enough to do the backyard. So now we're actually moving to the front yard. We are digging, and I'll show you what we did this morning. Well, I shouldn't say we. I'll show you the digging that my gardener did this morning, and I'll show you the layout that I have here in the backyard. Now, I'm not sure where we left off when I was explaining what was done back here at the cistern for the pump and the filters and the valves and all that. So we're going to do a review real quick of what I did over the last few days, and I'll show you where we are right now on the install of the electronics of getting the irrigation system installed. Okay, let's look here. The first component in the line from where the water comes from inside the cistern is the filters. Now, I will tell you right now, I have an epic fail here. And when I mean epic fail, it works, but I can't use the water softener. It's called ion something another. It is so dense inside, it restricts so much of the flow that the pump can't pull through here. I don't know what the problem is. I think maybe it could possibly be the cartridge is messed up. I'm not sure. I might have to go with a different brand. But I tried blowing through it, and it is so dense, you're hardly able to get anything through it. Now, this is the sediment filter. This works fine. This will keep any debris from getting inside the line. So this works. The pump is working. You can see I have pressurization. I have almost 60 psi. A standing value, that's with no demand on it right now. All the sprinkler heads are working, no leaks. And then it goes around here to this section where it makes the connection. I already have 3 of the valves connected, 2 of them that are terminated underneath the bottom, which is this one and the one directly underneath it, which goes to these 2 right here. Then the third one right here is this T on the top that's not terminated on this side, and I'm running that today. This one goes around to a small head way over in the corner there, and it will also go around to the yard over here. Remember, I was telling you those special nozzles that will give you a rectangular instead of a radius type of a throw, and they're going to go back here behind the fence and the side of the house. You can also see I have my layout done. Basically what I did was I took the 3/4 inch pipe, I put a T in, and then I connected it has a male stainless steel male connector on 3/4 inch connector that goes to the bottom of each one of the 100 heads we have here. Now, if I would have had my choice, I would have much rather had where this had a male on the end of a T with a male, but they didn't have it in stock. So I opted to build my own. And I followed my drawing. My drawing has zone 1. Remember, this is zone 1. Zone 1 goes here. It goes, zone 1 goes here, 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 and there. That's zone 1. And if I turn it on, I'm going to get wet if I turn it on. Well, let's see. Remember, these are leaning side, they're not in the ground, so they're going to kind of spray into the ground. So zone 1 is going to be here. So you can see zone 1 works fine, and it will cover this corner of the yard, including the garden here. Then, when it automatically shuts off by itself, see the heads are turned off, the pump will sense, the Europress will monitor the pressure and show that there's no demand, and it will automatically turn off like so. And this is the second zone. I'm not going to turn this one on right now because that's the area that I'm working on, which is that head, that head, that head, and head over there by the entrance, the service gate, those 4 heads, and we're doing the digging. I don't want to make a muddy mess over there right now. So those work fine. I tested those all out yesterday. Now, let me tell you a little bit, give you a little bit of a tip about burying your pipe, whether it be PVC or PPR. Now, PVC is fine, and it's much less expensive than PPR, but it's also more vulnerable to breaks than it is. Not so much in the US. The PVC has almost the same thickness as the PPR over here in the Philippines. The PVC in the Philippines is very thin, which is why I opted to go for the PPR. I'm spending a little bit now, hopefully where I don't have to spend money down the road for any type of breakage. So let me show you something. I'm going to give you a tip. Now, when you're laying your pipe, make sure you do the depth of the what you expect the head to go down. Now, the head of the sprayer, you're going to want the ground level, basically underneath the grass to the top of the soil, right at basically this level right here. You're going to want that to come up to about here. And why am I saying that? Because you don't want this sticking up too far above the soil, because when you have your lawnmower might cut off this even when it's not activated. And oh, by the way, make sure that your sprinkler system is not running when you're running your lawnmower. Anyway, okay, and I won't say that happened to me by experience. It's just a common sense kind of a thing. But you also want to make sure this isn't too far down deep below the soil level. This will get covered up, even though each time it will just keep popping up. It'll make a muddy mess and everything around there. So right up to about this level right here for your ground level, but it needs to be below the grass height, or almost to the grass height of this, because this is so flat right here. Now, when you are trenching, again, about the depth, this is about 10 inches. You want to make your trench about 10 inches deep, so everything is level going all the way across. Now, when you dig your trench, here's a big tip of the day right here. If you are pulling all the soil out, you can throw it on the grass, on the top of the grass, as long as you are going to backfill in a very short period of time, a couple hours or less or something like that. And that's normally the way it's done. This is all done in a kind of a one-step kind of a thing. You trench it, basically first you take your grass and you can roll it over, or you can cut it out. That way you can put it right back in. So like what we did, this already has the pipe laid from that head over here to this point right here. That way when you roll it back over, it takes about a week, and you won't even notice that you ever had a trench inside. It's very clean. But if you start pulling up, digging, and throwing grass all over the place, it takes quite a long time for it to go back to the natural height of the grass, and you won't see a scar in the soil as well. So anyway, what I am saying is about 10 inches deep, run the pipe all the way down. Try to do it all in one action, basically in a couple of hours. Fill it back in, roll your grass back on top of the soil, and then it will look like that the first day, and after a week or two, you won't even notice. It'll look like that. Don't roll all the soil and basically put it in one big pile, or either on the side or around your plants, and then leave it for 4 hours or so, because when you come back, what will end up happening, or for the next day mainly, because what will happen is it will kill the grass. It will make the grass turn yellow. It positively will affect the roots, and it will take a long time to have your grass come back, and you'll have those horrible, ugly yellow spots inside your yard until all your grass comes back to new, which could take months. So that's the tip of the day for that. Now, I need to get some more pipes. I'm going to run down to Wilcon done. I'll be back in just a little bit, and I will be moving other zones, building other zones to get water to the front yard for the garden and the grass in the front yard.